and divide it by 0.62 if I had 4/10 or half an inch backpack, and I'm really, really close. I'm within 20, 30 pounds.
You are that.
So they make the, the thing is, you can buy a plastic ruler and set it on there really, really quickly and see if it's a half inch or 6/10 of an inch.
After you get the meat back, is that what you're saying? You can measure it then?
Oh, I would do it, if I'm selling some, I'd do it at the packer. You know, if you're selling to a local packer, ask them to get that measurement. It's not, they're ribbing the carcass anyway. Here's the thing, everyone says it's too much work. No, it's not. You're ribbing it between the 12th and 13th rib. That's how you're making the break on your sirloin. You're going through there anyway. Take a digital camera, lay a little ruler down, take a digital, I don't know how to use it, take it. Making me sit this long is very stressful. I don't know how to talk without using my arms. But you put your ruler on there, you take a picture with your camera, you send it, it's easy to back calculate that. Any other questions? If there, yes, sir.
How much does your minimum program affect your margin? Like if you're using a block versus free choice, and what are your recommendations behind it?
Okay, that was a great question. And we'll cover this a little bit later, but I love that question. That question was, how much does your mineral program affect your marbling? It affects it a lot on the cow herd. It affects it a lot in a pregnant cow in the last, second and third stages of gestation, because that's when the intramuscular fat cells are developed in the fetus. And that's when satellite cells that become muscle nuclei are developed in the muscle of the calf. In the feedlot, we get very few mineral deficiencies because usually we feed a loose mineral and mix it in with the feed, and we don't need to worry about the variability of mineral intake that you have on pasture. The biggest mistake that I find with small feeders is using the same mineral for their cow herd that they do for their feedlot cattle. And it's a big mistake for two reasons. First one being cost. Phosphorus is expensive to add. So your feedlot mineral, if you are feeding corn or corn silage or distiller's grains or corn gluten feed or any combination of the above, should not have any phosphorus in them, because corn is 0.35% phosphorus. Distiller's grains, about 0.7. Corn gluten feed, 0.7 to 0.8. The requirement for that steer is 0.12 to 0.14% phosphorus. So what happens when you feed too much phosphorus for an animal? How many of you have ever had a kidney stone? You don't need to raise your hand, you can just grimace. Okay? That's a urinary calculi. That's what you create in feedlot steers when you have a calcium-phosphorus imbalance. And so we really shouldn't have any phosphorus in our cattle feeding mineral. And by the way, for every percent phos you add, and this just goes back to my days consulting for mineral companies, for every 1% phos that you add to a mineral, you add about $50 in cost. And folks, with what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, it's not getting better because Russia was a huge source of phosphorus mines. And so there's a reality here. If you're feeding a 5% phos cow mineral, that ought to be costing about $250 more than the same feedlot mineral without the phosphorus.
You're going to get into the feeding stuff more in another talk? Is that what
Probably.
Okay.
The question was, will I get into the feeding stuff more in a feedlot school?
Yes.
I bet. Good chance. No, I've run through all this other stuff. You just keep pulling me back.
Not you, them. I want them to come back to this thing.
Well, they'll feed you, so maybe you'll come back. I hope y'all come back. The next, and I'll get you in just 1 second. So where I'm going from here, I'm going to talk about carbohydrates and grain processing next week, and feed bunk management, and what protein sources to use. And then I'm going on to some other fun things after that. but we're gonna cover receiving calf management and a bunch of stuff. This night, I just wanted you to lay the groundwork for two things. I want you to understand that the industry is paying for high marbling cattle because that's what consumers are willing to buy. I want you to realize that we have people that are paying half their money to eat meals out of the house. And when they choose to eat out, very few people choose to go out to a white tablecloth restaurant and want a nice select steak. They want something with marbling. And that's what the industry pays us. The other thing is, I just want you to realize that we've got to be our own best supporters for animal agriculture because the science is on our side. And most companies think in terms of quarters. Most farmers think in terms of generations. We have to promote that we don't damage the land because we're concerned about what it's going to do to our grandkids.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
Your percent cutability, how does that change from heifer to steer?
Heifers actually have a lower cutability because they're fatter. They have more internal fat, too. They have more seed fat. Now, the good news is heifers grade better on the whole, as long as they're not cycling.
So that's why
So,
we get paid less for a heifer?
Yep. Now, I'll tell you what,
She'll grade better.
but she also cycles. That is the big thing. Now, there's a reality here. People that, I work with a program that I'm part of, and we have gone to demanding that every animal that we buy be cut, nothing be banded. And we're not interested in your cattle if they're banded. And you don't know what's stressful until you get cattle in a feedlot and you've got an animal that was banded. And most feedlot operators just see those heifers as getting fat. Pregnant animals get fat too. And probably the most stressful thing you've ever seen is an animal at harvest that has nearly a full-term fetus. And for that reason, if you're small and you can afford to feed your heifers separate from your steers, do it. For a natural program, the heifers are going to cycle. Yes, you're not allowed to use MGA. Okay, you're not allowed to go in the fluid lice. But if you feed them separately, even though they're cycling, they're not going to get bred. But banding is just a really bad idea from a feedlot standpoint. And every calf that comes through, we check, but you only need to miss one in a pen.
And believe it or not, I did not pay him to say that. They get tired of me all the time telling them to not ban.
I feel like I'm getting smarter if I give the same advice that Tammy Chili does. Yes, sir.
If you ban them yourself and you make sure you get both of them.
If you're feeding them, that's fine. But we're still going to have to check them. And I'll tell you what, I know when I'm holding two testicles in my hand that I've got them. And it's just such a big risk to take. I am dealing right now with a group of heifers that came out of a ranch in Montana, and we bought 2 semi-loads. We've had 60 pregnant heifers that were identified at the packing plant because they were being fed in Nebraska, and they really did not show it. And what they found they found 2 bulls in a pen of banded calves. And it was a feedlot that we're not going back to. And so, those sorts of things, we can talk about quality grade and yield grade and everything, but there's nothing that kills your profitability like a pregnant heifer. Doesn't matter what it does. And I'll tell you what, out of those cattle that are pregnant that carry nearly a full-term fetus, that means it's going to be tough. They're turning out the lights on me, so I take it that means we're probably getting ready to go.
I don't think they meant to do that. Turn the lights on.
Any other?
Are those, they're not separated out at the feedlot?
Many feedlots don't separate them because they're so big. Yeah. Yeah. Now, many really, really good feedlots do, but there's just as many feedlots out there, commercial feedlots, that don't separate them.
There you go.
You're all awake. Good. I didn't expect that.
Francis, let's check the chat box and see if we've got any questions in there. There's the top.
I don't know how long that went back. I'm not sure that the screen sharing is working.
It should have been.
We have to work on that for next week. That did not work out well. So those of you who may be still online, apologize. We will work stuff out for next week. And for those of you who came, thanks for coming.
Dr. Francis is,
You want me to save this? Hey, save.
yes. So we meet next week, y'all. Back next Thursday at 6. It's the next week. So next week we're. Yes. So I have a question.
Let me get this to John, I'm gonna run the restroom.
Y'all be careful.
I talked my husband into, instead of him taking his cows to and selling them commercially, for us to start just selling them to my clients. I'm a hair salon. I want to buy beef by the quart. And we're getting $2,800 cash. Are we doing okay if we're doing that? Yeah, because, you know, he said you'll never be able to do it.
How much are you paying the processing? Or
We're paying the processing,
Okay.
yeah, because
How much is processing costing you?
if we sell, I'm trying to think. So if it's $2,800, we may sell around $900 to have it processed over
You're getting about 1,900.
Yeah. And, you know, we're getting about 1,100 pounds.
Okay, you're doing well.
So, you know, and we're doing what you said, no hormones. We're grass feeding them and then feeding them out with cottonseed. We got a guy around here that has cottonseed. And the reason I'm here is because I talked my husband into buying a genetically enhanced bull, you know, a really good bull from the University of Georgia trial, which he wasn't too crazy about me saying we got to buy this bull. But now that I bought this bull, we're starting to get our calves. And I'm telling all my beef clients, okay, the price of beef is going up when we start selling this guy's babies. Because now we have a bull that's been ultrasound and checked, and we know he makes good babies, and his babies are getting big real fast. So the genetics of our herd are really going up. So am I doing the right thing?
As long as you're making money, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That's my bottom line.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm working on, trying to make money, because I want us to be profitable. And the reason I'm taking this class is so I can learn how to track all this too.
Okay.
So
We'll get into that.
that's what I want to learn, because I want to do the best I can.
Quick question on the banding versus cutting.
Yeah.
If you band them, you get them. Is there any which is better for the meat quality? Any difference?
No, there's no difference. There's no difference on meat quality.
You were just worried about the heifers getting pregnant.
Yeah, the reason feedlots don't want banded cattle,
Right.
is because when they are buying cattle,
Right.
there's a lot of feedlots that like to buy cattle that are bulls because they're buying them at a discount and they're pulling the testicles out and they're cutting them themselves. So if you're buying an animal at a discount and you pull the testicles out, you know you don't have a problem, and then you can run the steers with the heifers. But I'm going to take a guess that in feedlots that are feeding all natural programs, you're not using MGA in the feed for the heifers. You may run 15% pregnancies, and it just kills some profitability. Because when you see it, it seems weird. So when we buy them now, we're feeling every steer, and the thing is, in a pen of 100, it only takes one animal with one testicle. They're young and they're aggressive and they're on a high plane of nutrition, and those heifers, because they've got good nutrition, they're cycling, and so they're in there. Well, if they're calf beds and they're in there for 200 days, they've got 9 chances to breed a heifer. They've got testicles.
So a friend of mine this year, he's feeding 3, and one of them was a heifer, and she doesn't have the prettiest calf in the world.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you were talking about the minerals, so are you recommending free choice program, like I've seen the boxes that have the 20 choice, free choice?
So the boxes with the individual minerals, there was one study done back in the 50s or 60s which was reported, and like the area where it came from had a lot of Amish, and the Amish put these individual minerals out. Unfortunately, there have been hundreds of studies done that show that animals don't choose which one they're deficient in. So going in with a good free choice mineral is the way to go, but a blended mineral. And I'll say that every mineral company, let's say you're working with the Purina, they have good feedlot minerals. You just need to tell your dealer wherever you're getting them, this is not a cow mineral, that you want a feedlot mineral to get the phosphorus out. That's the main thing. Versus the blocks. I don't like the blocks because they don't get the consistent intake. And the thing is, some cattle just stand at the blocks and lick them like a lick. Well, I'll talk more about the minerals, but
That's part of the course.
Yeah, it's part of the course. But the reality of it is, the form of the minerals that in the blocks, a lot of it's in the oxide form. And oxide is like, think of iron oxide, okay, and rust. And the oxide form of minerals is the cheapest to make, but they're only absorbed to about 5%. So minerals that are in loose form usually are carbonates or sulfates, and they're about 40% absorbed, 35 to 40. So you're getting, and because they're all on some kind of rock, they're none of them are 100% absorbable. And so for feedlots, we really can't afford to feed chelated minerals. It just doesn't pay. Because the main thing is we're giving them minerals. If we put it in the feed, if you mix it in the feed at all, even a dry feed and you mix it in, as long as they're getting some every day, it's a more consistent intake than having a block out.
How about on the pasture? Will we notice any difference in the rate of growth or?
Yeah, loose versus block. Yes. Yeah.
Grass there.
Yeah, it'll improve your conception rates. It'll improve how early in life your heifers start to cycle. I will share you a bunch of stuff.
So just a mineral mix rather than whole free choice.
Yeah, and so if you go with a Cargill, if you go with the Dreams, there's a lot of good companies out there. Bring me a feed tag and I'll show you what I like or don't like about it. And I don't look at the parts per million because that's only relevant depending on intake. You know, some can have 20,000 parts per million, but if they're not eating it, or if they're overeating it, that's what it means. I just look at the form and to determine the quality of a mineral. But I'll be happy to work with you now.
She cares so much.
So on the pasture, you think I'd get a return on feeding them the,
Yeah. And they make a lot of good mineral feeders that are low to the ground now that have flaps. A lot of companies have those.
yeah, I've had them in the past.
Yeah.
We're rotationally grazing.
Yeah.
And it's a
That's a pain in the butt.
Put it on the cart and move it with the store, which is in it. Something like that.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
I understand.
Yeah, I mean, especially on four-wheelers.
Oh, yeah. I understand that. In the research world where we do replicated plots of everything, I've had 24 separate groups of animals grazing on grazing studies where it was an every 3-day move. I feel your pain.
Thank you.
Our cattle use that tall up there. To get into another stage, I'm thinking about senior feeding cattle. Some of them were dressing our animals. Like that route just left. I got to try to get them back down the road. Like, what is the ideal? What are y'all trying to do? Because so they still don't understand. You got to have calving season. You got to have everything the way it needs to be instead of just throwing money at the problem. But appreciate it.
All right, see you next Thursday.
I felt rusty. It's been 8 years since I've been cattle feeding school. But it was better than any meeting I've had in the last semester.
All right.
Okay.
I'm Sarah Long. Hi. I went to school with Clay Talton and Reese McDaniel.
Okay.
And Jacob Stevens.
Oh, really?
At
Oh, wow.
And I am now
Okay.
So, yes, sir. In the last 10 years, I've been manufacturing feed at Paul. I ran B&C company for 10 years. Manufactured like cattle feed, dog food. So I'm very familiar with monogastric ruminants and all the yeah, so really excited. Also created a extruded corn line. So, discussing the difference between extrusion versus steam versus cracking versus and we got off the production so it's a trade-off, right? And then, talking about, corn figures here versus even 2 hours north of here. I live in Athens.
Okay.
I drive down here all the time. We are in the process of acquiring feed mill and down here. And so I will be on the way now.
That's why I'm
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. But I wanted to take your course to I'll bring it next week though.
I'll see you next week.
I'll tell you what, I actually found this class today.
Really?
Like really, I was sitting in my office down here at the depot, and I was like on the Depot Catalan's website, and then it was like, we're having this class, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that is, and then it said Warrant, and I was like, of all towns.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
right.
why the same town I'm literally working in today? Okay, so I couldn't miss it, obviously. But yeah, I will definitely, you might contact me.
Maybe one day I'll come down early and see what.
Yeah, so we are looking to take possession of it, in May.
Okay.
And then July 1st, we'll swap everything over to 50 and be open, like our grand opening, so we'll shop it.
Is it local?
It's fairly local, half hour away. And, really excited about the project and hope to be able to, God, so, yeah, I know you said you don't do consulting anymore, but, I definitely hit read up all the time. Like, what do you think about this, man? What do you think about that? And he was like, because my big thing is using medical ingredients, especially because I started in the feed industry in 2011 when corn was at $8.50, and you just couldn't afford it. People couldn't afford it, flat out. So, yeah, being able to browse the internet, find scrap products, find novel ingredients people weren't using that, and turn it into a viable feed product that people want. Because when I was in VA, and even when you read all these studies online, first of all, if you're reading studies online, they have access to ingredients we do not have here in the South. I read so many studies where they're like, corn silo, so I'm like, sure, corn silo. Like, nobody knows it. So that's not something I can use, Or they say, like, when I was at UGA, like, cost wasn't, well, no, but like they could pay anything.
Oh.
When we were doing feed trials.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean like university?
Yeah, the university can afford to pay anything. But like when you get out here in the real world, like these farmers right? And so when I was actually at UGA and I was in my room at nutrition class, I'm a cod right? I did not touch a cow until college. But in college, I worked at UGA Dairy, back when we had 130 head, and now
oh yeah, no, we're no guy in 29 right now.
Oh really? Okay, good. So back then we had 6 stalls, and it was all air actuated, so all day long. And I would be there like 2:30 in the morning, and then until 7:30, and I'd go to class stimulant house, and then I would go to class until noon, and then I would go work for Ryan Crow at the MSCC all afternoon, and I did that for 2 years. I loved it, and I loved meat science, and I loved processing. Most recently, process support.
It is not isolated.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very big proponent for processing headways, just because we have a glut of them, and I think it's horrible that we ship them to other countries. So they're not mandated, they're not like regulated anyway. Yeah, so love catching up on this stuff. This is so much fun for me. And I will, and what is your opinion about, I oversee a commercial cross. We can tell it's got like 350 head. And all of the English they seem to have a pretty narrow kind of. You had not done it. Just kind of slow, just kind of narrow.
I do the same thing all the time.
What is your goal?
Call me when you get a chance this morning. I gotta go check.
I'm open to swapping 100%. I'm just not the biggest.
Yeah, how far are they from here?
I'm in Minneapolis.
Oh.
I don't want to.
But not far.
Let's just say
Give me a call someday, I'll take a look at it.
I love that. I'm in the process of completely revamping the entire.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an older guy, he's a friend of mine, and I've worked with him over the years, and he just pretty much said, he was like, carte blanche, you know, but my cattle produce he doesn't even know where any of his numbers are, he just runs his bulls all year round, for years on end.
we've got almost 5% of this type.
Thank you so much.
Ignore the office.
Are you never in there?
I have use that.
How long have you been with PG? Okay.
Almost 5. I came in 2018.
Oh, I left in 2018. And I definitely wanted to. I know a little bit more. So you have to drive all the way back.
I'd already sent a sample.
I spent 5 years on that extension. Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
And same with Buckeye, did everyone got to
That's differentiation.
And then did you work out west as well?
so long protracted
All the way down to the.
So I worked full-time as a lot manager for Ohio State volleyball my degree. And I have a consulting company
As it goes downhill.
22 years.
And I said, notice
And so
that percentage is
I
increasing.
used to
When it got to the league,
be associated with Biozyme. They make Emerson, Biozyme, and light. And then that ended up really good but I am part of a branded food company, and I showed for that. And my limitations are so annually I oversee a very 600,000 head number, and I go down there to night this out and stay in flight or and so I'll do those like this. And I may put something in there. Find one night of showing like, so I think there's something yes. Here's an 8,000 head feedlot. That feedlot, we do all this count. Every animal.
Really?
They have 3 people. That's what they do. And what
I guess we'll buy these.
we don't have the handle on technology everyone thinks we do.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah, especially now with the accessibility of information,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, anybody can join any kind of social media and see how are other people doing stuff. Yeah, I watched a girl in China buy motors by hand, you know, because I haven't used some electric motors. You know, and so, you know, watched her just buy new learning how to do that, you know, and all that information is out there. I've always wanted to check out Argentina, and then Brazil as well, their beef production.
And he says, well, you're not supposed to have this. This is a
We may figure out a way
He said,
to get
I don't
a
think there's any
cattle industry
national
down.
security.
So that's one of the things I want to talk to Bill Sandlin about cattle is you want to take a 5-day, 10-day propaganda,
Every house
take
has
down,
no-
go back, 8 days in country.
That is great. Well, my passport is ready. So.
Okay.
So thank you so much. It was a pleasure to
Good
meet
to
you.
meet
Thank
you.
you. And I'll see you at party.
Let me see you. Hey, Doc.
I didn't know what else we
I think that is a very, I know it's complicated, but it's important. It saves you a heck of a, getting knocked down on the price. And it's not like Margaret, it's say, check my bed there. Should have another nickel time.
I was thinking at one time, I was thinking.
Let's have it.
Because that's all we do.